this morning on worship. I want to read from the Gospel recorded by Luke in chapter 7. By the way, all the time I'm here, I'll be reading from the Living Bible, the King James Version. I remember years ago when the Living Bible first came out, a lady came to me so exalted, full of joy. She showed me this gorgeous, expensive Bible. She said, "I've got a Living Bible." I said, "I've had one about 60 years. I never knew there was a dead one." Oh, people say services in our church are so dead. I say, well, that's to show one thing: the living Christ isn't in the midst. You can't have a dead meeting if the living Christ is there. Ruskin, who lived just about 100 years back in English history, he defined preaching as 30 minutes to raise the dead. Well, I thought that was facetious, but it's not. You go to the average church, every row is death row. Isn't that right? If you said it wasn't, I'd chase you. I don't think 2% of people in America or England are born again. That's very drastic, but I'm convinced of that. Okay, Luke chapter 7, verse 37. "Behold, a woman in the city which was a sinner, when she knew that Jesus sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him weeping, began to wash his feet with tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, This man, if he were a prophet, would know what manner of woman this is, for she is a sinner. Jesus answering said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he said, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor which had two debtors, one owed him 500 pence, and the other owed him 50, and when he had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me therefore which of them would love him most. Simon answered and said, I suppose he that whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged. And he turned to the woman and said to the woman, and said to Simon, Seest thou this woman? I entered into thine house. Thou gavest me no water, but she hath washed my feet with tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou hast given me